Macmillan Audio presents Windsors at War, The King, His Brother, and a Family Divided by Alexander Larman, narrated for you by Sophie Roberts.
Oh, brothers. I don't care for brothers. My elder brother won't die, and my younger brothers seem never to do anything else. Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Genesis chapter 4, verses 8 to 9.
Introduction. A couple of years ago, I was having a haircut. The barber, a literary man, was pleased to hear that I was working on a book about the royal family in World War II, but he had a particular interest in one issue. Was the Duke of Windsor really a Nazi? I was unable to respond pithily. When someone is cutting your hair, you are more than usually vulnerable to something going awry if your response is an unexpected one. But the answer is neither an unequivocal yes or a dismissive no, rather something more ambiguous. When I was writing my previous book, The Crown in Crisis, the discussion of Edward VIII's political sympathies took up a substantial proportion of the narrative. If he was not at least a Nazi sympathizer, then it was deeply unfortunate that he willingly spent quite so much time in their company. But the tale of his abdication and its build-up ended in December 1936, with Edward no longer monarch and exiled to Europe, travelling away in the night. During my research, I kept seeing glimpses of fascinating documents in archives that promised to elucidate his inclinations, but also hinted at far greater discoveries to come. I have never written a sequel before, but when I concluded The Crown in Crisis, I knew that the story I had been telling was not, could not be, finished. The question that reader after reader has asked me is, what happened after Edward and Wallis left Britain? Here, they have their answer. The question of the Duke's Nazi loyalties and associations can now be answered in satisfying and conclusive detail, thanks to new information that has come to light over the previous decade. And I cannot say that I have warmed to him during my research. I have been accused of harshness towards Edward, whom I described in The Crown in Crisis as a wretched, quixotic ruler, an obsessed and demanding lover, and, bar the odd instance of compassion and decency, a selfish and thoughtless man. My only regret is that I have been too generous towards him. If there is a public figure of comparable standing who displayed the lack of self-awareness, non-existent consideration for others, and disdain for any reasonable standard of behaviour as the Duke of Windsor, their name should live in infamy. But the Duke's failings are only one aspect of the Windsors at War. If The Crown in Crisis was a book about the moral, social and political weight of kingship, this is ultimately a story about a squabbling and dysfunctional family being tested to the limits under unimaginable pressure. The fascinating psychodrama of the uneasy relationship between King George VI and the Duke of Windsor, the man who struggled to be king and the man who had given it all up for a woman, featured only tangentially in the earlier book. Now, thanks to access to rare and never-before-published letters, diaries and memoranda, I can tell its story with the candour and detail it deserves. Inevitably, this period encompasses far more than sibling rivalries. The Second World War has been written about by countless historians before, and the central narrative can seem almost over-familiar. Yet the role of the royal family in the conflict, both public and private, is curiously underreported. As I delved into it, I was astonished at the new and never-before-published information.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?